Remember this Dolmar from a few videos ago? We determined this thing was a part saw. I had a vision of me cutting wood with this thing. Let's see if we can get this thing to cut wood again for the lowest amount of money. But first, we have to make a meal for some hungry kids. Olive oil. Get your garlic nice and fine, or just use garlic powder. Alexa, play Faster Horses. He was an old-time cowboy, don't you understand? Onions, garlic, maybe some leftover cheese, tomato sauce. I don't know, that's probably fine. I don't know how much, just whatever looks right. $30 more. Like, you could actually just use that sauce for anything. Sloppy joes, chili dogs, add some spice. Everybody loves cheese. A cup of heavy cream. I'll have to sample it. Make sure it's safe to eat. Mm-hmm. We are back in the shop with our Dolmar. So I took this out of the bag I had it in, and the crankcase was totally locked up. Fuel and gum had completely seized up. So it barely turned over. So I filled the cavity up with carburetor cleaner, oil, some gas. It's still really hard to turn. Wow, was that ever dirty? Well, I'm going to dump that out into a cup of sorts, and you can see what comes out of this. That's pretty nasty. It would even strip the paint off, whatever the fuel in it was. That's okay. I have nothing to lose, so I'm going to clean this out the best I can. I'm going to use compressed air, gasoline, carburetor cleaner, and I'll report back. Oh, I blew this out a little bit. Threw some more carb cleaner in it. I'm going to throw some WD-40. It's feeling pretty good. The only place it stops is when the magnet touches the ignition coil, and that's just, your magnet grabbing. So I'm going to just work at this, cleaning it out. See if I can get it rolling really nice. I'll probably put my drill on the end. Now, when I turn it over with the drill gun, I don't want the connecting rod smashing into the crankcase. Wrap an elastic band around that, like so. And that elastic band, that'll just keep the rod from smashing into the crankcase. Well, it's better. Does it need crank bearings? It wouldn't hurt. I've got nothing to lose though here. I'm gonna throw some 2-stroke oil in there. Wow, that freed it right up. Did that ever make a difference? Spin this thing again. Not bad. Not the best I've ever felt. Honestly, I don't see rust down there. It was just old fuel deposits. Let's get this out of the way. We have our cylinder, and we have one nasty piston. I'm going to reuse this. I'm going to clean this all up. We're going to kind of sand this down. Get that ring out of there. Maybe even reuse that ring. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Clean this cylinder up best we can. Do the same thing. I'm just going to use carburetor cleaner to soften this up. So with the cylinder, that scoring isn't too bad. I'm just going to work at that with a bit of sandpaper. I'll probably have that cleaned up pretty quick. Just got my piston sitting in a cup full of carburetor cleaner. A little bit of sandpaper. Yeah, it's coming off. That won't take long, so. Probably should have gloves on. We'll get those next time. I've got most of that crud cleaned off. It was actually holding the ring in its groove. You almost wonder if that didn't help seize this saw up. So the ring's coming out. Let's see if we can get this out. Ring is out. It's nasty looking, isn't it? If you don't like this, skip forward. Basically, I'm just taking the high spots off. Just remember, this isn't a professional rebuild. This is a quick and dirty. Maybe this thing will cut for a little bit longer. So where it's pinching the ring is where the aluminum has pushed in right here, and it's pushed in a bit from the scoring. So I'm just going to file that open a little bit. Let's get our ring back. Wipe the garbage off there. There is a little bit of marking on that exhaust side of the ring. What can we do? I don't know. Let's try this. Some 2000 grit. Someone's probably laughing at me right now, but doesn't matter. This is just for fun. Tony. Probably lose a little bit of compression right there. That's all right. It's probably going to be fine. I mean, it's still round. Fits nicely through there. Give that another soak. I'm just going to say good enough. I don't want to sand on that too much. Never done this before. All right, a quick check on this piston. So diameter 1.684. My battery's dead, that's why it's flashing. 0.682, 84, 86. I'm just checking for high spots. Oh, a little high down, right? Little bit of a high spot still, right down, probably right in this area. Let's butcher this piston up a little more. I don't know how scientific this is. Now, I think a piston's usually smaller at the top anyways, because you have more mass here to expand. And I'm happy with this. I don't want to take too much off. Let's install our ring. Nice and loose in there now. I like it. Bit of carbon right there. So as long as the saw has lots of oil and is running cool, this won't expand anymore. The only reason it scored was this piston got so hot it expanded and the aluminum started touching the cylinder. It got a little too tight in there and just started smearing itself. But under normal running conditions, this won't happen again. Let's see how we did. I got some gouging in the cylinder. Can't do anything about that, but we got the transfer off. So I can get you a good shot. Yeah. I'm really just concerned with above the exhaust port. So I'm mostly just concerned with from here to this area here. That's where our compression is built. When the piston comes up, passes the exhaust port, it'll build compression to here. So we're going to lose a bit because of these gouges, and the ring isn't in great shape. But down here, there's a little bit more to get off, and we'll just work at that a little bit more. Well, that's cleaned up as good as I can get it. So I'm just going to clean this up, get all the grit out of it with some air and some brake cleaner. That's it for the cylinder. I'm going to reuse the gasket too. Yeah, that's feeling really nice. And this thing is going to smoke like crazy when it gets running. It's been flushed and flushed. Bearing. One circlip installed. And let's put the exhaust side on the exhaust side. Don't need that. Cheated a little bit and I used a steel installing tool. Get our other circlip in. Make sure it's in its groove. There we go. Put our intake on now. Let's give it a quick clean out. Impulse line. Let's press our intake boot on like so. We'll get some Durco. Oh, I hope it's still good. Yep, we're good. I'm just going to put a thin layer just because I'm reusing the gasket. I know I should do the other side, but it's stuck to the cylinder pretty well, except in that spot, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Oil. Some oil on the piston. I guess Erica could have done the reassembly. She says no thank you. This is a little too sketchy for her. She likes cleaner rebuilds. Forgot about that screw. And there, we're installed. Now I just got to put the cylinder bolts down through. We'll install the cylinder bolts. Just hand tight. Not even going to torque them down. That's good enough. Cylinder on. That screw back in. Our kill terminal here. Then I think these two screws. I should go back and watch the other video. And we got her back together. Yeah, it doesn't look too pretty in there, does it? A saw build-off idea. Who can take the worst saw, rebuild it with the least amount of money and the most original parts, and see how long it runs? Erica says she's not interested in that. She is over there currently working on two 500i's. I think one's a major problem and one might be hopefully a minor. So my next step is I'm going to reseal this saw up. So I'm going to seal the muffler or the exhaust. I'm going to put the spark plug back in and I'm going to seal the intake up and make sure this thing will hold some vacuum. Dolmars don't like to hold pressure. The way the intake boot fits with just that weak spring won't hold pressure. But that's okay because when the saw is running, you don't get any pressure at the intake boot. So let's seal this up. I'll be right back. And we're holding vacuum 0.5 bar, and I have a feeling we will not hold pressure. Oh, make a liar out of me. Well, that's great. It could have been my tool leaking last video. So we're holding pressure and vacuum. There's no reason why this saw shouldn't run now, other than low compression and maybe fuel system. We should do a compression test just to see what this thing is at. So compression tester's hooked up. And we need a recoil installed though. Recoil installed. Well, look at that. We brought it up to 180 PSI with a damaged cylinder and a used ring that we sanded. That's not bad. I think in the first video it was at 149. My next steps are I'm going to throw this muffler on. So all I have left here now to make this saw run is get the carburetor rebuilt, add a fuel filter. We'll hear it run, and then install my clutch and oiler, go find a used sprocket, because I'm pretty sure I have another one of these saws out in the parts room that I can rob some parts off of. So we have our carburetor here, and it's all taken apart, cleaned. I didn't see anything that stood out to me. So I don't have the exact carburetor kit. The one I need for this C1Q DM14, that's the kit I need. I have an RB39 and everything is the same other than it comes with 2 fuel pump diaphragms. The springs look the same. The needles are the same. So I'm just going to say it's the same. There must be some difference. I don't know all the things. Now, one thing I did notice is in the last video I explained this little piece of foam keeps dirt and debris from getting into the chamber. The problem is this thing is totally plugged. So if I seal the top here, try and breathe through that hole, no air comes through. So we could have been having a metering problem also. If no atmospheric air can get into this side of the metering chamber, you will have a running problem. So we need to get rid of that for now. It's just probably packed with dirt and debris. For being OEM, that screen is pretty poor. And it's level with the upper portion here. I could have sent the carburetor to the Erica department, but she is busy. Pressure 10 psi, and we are holding. So throttle cable, close the choke, get your fuel line lined up, which I can't really show you. Throttle cable is operating. Fuel filter time. So I have a little problem. Fuel line it's in okay shape, but it's a little expanded down here. And the OEM filter, which looks like this, actually that one fits not bad. Aftermarket. But it doesn't stay in very nicely. I'm gonna try a still trimmer fuel filter. It's got the smaller barb than the chainsaw, and that fits really nice. So that's the part number for that. So this would be for your FS91s, FS131s. So it's got the smaller barb. Because if you use the regular Stihl chainsaw fuel filter, the barb is way too big for this fuel line. So that one fits really nice. We'll use that. I do not have a fuel line for this, unfortunately. I don't stock many Dolmar parts anymore. So we're just going to go with that. I'm going to throw some Moto Mix. Spark plug time. So here's that plug that come with it. E3 Diamond Fire. Remember, I changed that and the saw fired right up. I'm not going to spend money on a new spark plug, but I do have this nice Husky plug that came out of a 240. The gap looks good. It looks like a nice clean low hour spark plug. Use a used spark plug at your own risk. So it's firing time. Time to see if this thing will run or not. Okay. There's probably too much oil in there. Does that ever stink? All that old fuel down in the crankcase and then the muffler. Well, we heard that run. You seen me adjust the carburetor a bit. So at first I thought I was too rich on the low, so I turned it in half a turn and then realized, oh, all that oil in the crankcase, it can't run on that. So then I turned my low back to the 1 turn out. That's all that was. It seemed to run fine right there once that oil all cleared out. So my next step, go and find a needle bearing, drum, sprocket, get a bar and chain on this thing and get this thing to work. I want to run this saw like I just borrowed it from my neighbor. Let's get this side of the saw back together. We got our oil pump driver. I just had that installed there, playing around. Get that back in. I oiled up this crankshaft here, cleaned the rust off. Everything's turning nicely. Get our clutch on. I've got the Dolmar clutch tool. Went out to the parts room, old stock parts. I have some Dolmar boxes from when I was a dealer, and look at that. I had a brand new drum. OEM. Bearing is installed inside of it. That doesn't sound right. Bet you there's a washer missing. I have a part saw, not a part saw, but one I can look at, an old Mariama made by Dolmar. We'll just see how they've got this together. Maybe we'll borrow these parts. And yes, there is a washer. Must keep it off of the clutch shoes. Yep, that little 0.5 millimeter washer is pretty important. Look at the coloring on that one. Not good. We'll borrow these parts. No, maybe we'll save the brand new one for... Nah, forget that. Delete that. All right, new drum, rim, sprocket, 325. Air filter wasn't that dirty. Nice 18-inch bar for this. 325. Looks like a still chain. I'll have to touch it up. I think it oils. I actually don't know. I'm going to go put a sharpen on that. It's raining and it's cold out, so we will reconvene in the morning. It's the next day. We'll do a cold start. Maybe it's flooded from sitting all night. Let's find out. There's the pot. That works fantastic for a 45cc chainsaw with a scored piston.
Well, that's it for the Dolmar that we paid $40 for on Facebook Marketplace. After a quick and dirty rebuild, this thing is back up and running and working good. We definitely don't need any more saws in our collection, so this thing is going to go up on eBay. Whoever buys this thing, we would ask that you email us and let us know if this thing holds up, if it breaks down. We're curious to know how long this thing will last. So come on over here, let's box this thing up and get it on eBay. Let's get this thing ready for the box. This bar and chain will come with it. That's an 18-inch bar and chain and in very good condition. This thing is a bit dirty. Whoever gets this could clean this up. It probably would clean up pretty nice. Maybe the person that's buying the saw only needs it for parts, or maybe you're going to run it. There's a lot of valuable parts right here. I think the coil alone on this is worth about $200 Canadian. Whoever wins this chainsaw, I'm also going to send you one of these fuel line grabbers from Steel. I'll send you a scrunch. And I'll send you one of the stickers from Married with Small Engines.